Hey guys, we're Lloyd and Mandy. We're digital nomads that have been traveling through Southeast Asia for the past 9 months. And today we're going to be sharing with you our top 7 things we wish we knew before traveling to the Philippines in 2022.
So we've been in the Philippines now for almost a month, and to be honest, we didn't do a lot of research before coming here. We just knew it was somewhere we really wanted to go. So hopefully this information will help you guys have a better understanding of what it's like here before you come.
So number 7 would be the Wi-Fi. For us as digital nomads, it's extremely important for us to have high-speed internet and reliable Wi-Fi because our jobs depend on it. And the Wi-Fi is a little bit spotty and a little bit unreliable since we've been in the Philippines. It's something that we think everyone needs to be aware of maybe before coming here if you are someone like us as a nomad. If you are just coming on holiday, it's probably the best place to unplug because you don't really have to worry about that. But as far as the Wi-Fi speed, downloading seems to be okay, but the upload speed is quite slow. For us as YouTubers and just for our other businesses as well, it's been a bit of a struggle. We do use a video compressor. I myself use Handbrake for all of our YouTube videos, something to keep in mind. It's a free app that you can download for your computer just to compress your videos to make the file smaller. So that's sort of a little tip that I'll give to you if you are planning on coming here as a YouTuber. Makes your videos smaller and the upload speed pretty much cuts in half by using that.
Yeah, so like Mandy said, it's not even really that the Wi-Fi is slow, it's more that it's unreliable. You can still stream movies and things like that, but it's the upload speed that really gets you. And we find that whenever we check into a hotel, the Wi-Fi is fine for the first day, and I think it sort of runs out of data or something because by day 2 or 3, it's really bad, it's really spotty. And we find ourselves having to upload things overnight. We actually have a little hack for the slow Wi-Fi, which is purchasing a SIM card to bring around with you. It's really cheap and it's just like an extra backup in case the Wi-Fi doesn't work. There's really 2 companies you can buy a SIM card with, and it's either Smart or Globe. We went with Smart because it had better reviews, and we just went into a store and bought a new SIM card. It was really easy. Actually, the security guard is the one who sold it to us.
Yeah.
And there's places you can reload that everywhere, but like I said, we haven't really had to use it. We just had it as an emergency. If you're on the little islands or provinces, you can reload it pretty much from anywhere. So number 6, and this is something we weren't really expecting, was accommodation seems to be more expensive than other places in Southeast Asia, mainly Thailand, Vietnam, and Bali. We're expecting the accommodation to be quite similar, but it's not. You really don't get as much value for money. You have to spend a little bit extra. So to give you an example, in Vietnam and Thailand, we were spending like 25 to 30 Australian dollars a night, and we were getting like really good Wi-Fi, sometimes breakfast, a gym, things like that. Really like good hotels, 4-star hotels. Maybe it had something to do with the pandemic, but in the Philippines, we've really struggled to find anything on the same level for under 60 Australian dollars.
Yeah, nothing's really ticked all the boxes for us so far. I guess one of them being the Wi-Fi. If we find somewhere that's beautiful and looks good, usually the Wi-Fi hasn't been good. So yeah, that has been a bit of a challenge as well since we've been here.
That's not to say that the Philippines is more expensive. We actually just did a video on the cost of living in the Philippines. You can click the link and watch it later, but it sort of evens out because other things like food and transport is really cheap here.
So number 5 is probably my favorite one. Philippines has the best seafood I've ever had in my life and the best barbecue as well. I've said this in multiple of our videos, so everyone's probably sick of me saying it, but it's true. Delicious and so fresh.
Yeah, and honestly, it makes sense because the Philippines is thousands of islands and you're surrounded by water everywhere you go. So it does make sense that they would have good seafood, but the barbecue is something that really took us by surprise. The barbecue's been awesome. So number 4, traveling around the Philippines isn't really cheap. Now, when I say transport's cheap, that means like taxis and Grabs and motorbike hire, that's all cheap. but because everything's sort of so isolated, if you want to travel from different provinces to other islands, it's not that cheap because you have to either get a flight or you have to get a ferry, which actually isn't that cheap either. You're going to probably spend about $100 to $200 Australian getting from one island to another. So if you want to go island hopping in the Philippines, just be prepared to plan ahead if you can, because you will get cheaper flights. But we sort of plan a lot of our stuff last minute, so it wasn't very cheap for us at all.
Yeah, I think our way of traveling maybe is a bit different to most. Like if you're coming for a holiday, obviously it's going to be a little bit different than if you are just like a nomad like us, working on the road and planning a few days in advance. But yeah, definitely if you can plan in advance, do so.
Yeah, if I had known how expensive it would have been, we probably would have booked a lot of our trip a bit earlier.
Yeah.
We were actually quite surprised at how many people speak English here. If you go to some of the smaller islands, it's still a little bit of a grey area where they don't speak as good at English, but pretty much everywhere, if you walk into a shop or a restaurant and you speak English, they're going to know what you're saying, to an extent anyway, because I have an Australian accent and they don't understand me anyway.
No one understands you.
But that actually brings us to today's video sponsor, Busuu. So Busuu is a language learning platform that connects over 120 million users all over the world.
Busuu provides compact lessons from experts and connects with a community of native speakers to help learners master new languages faster.
They break down learning into small, achievable lessons that make learning easier and more motivating.
We've actually noticed since traveling through Asia how limited we are with only knowing one language.
Yeah, it actually feels a little bit selfish going everywhere and expecting them all just to speak English. So we've made it a goal of ours this year to learn one new language using Busuu.
And the beauty of it is when you sign up, you'll get a personalized study plan and get friendly reminders when it's time to learn using Busuu's expertly designed lessons.
They also use smart technology in the review section, which highlights what to revise and when. We've actually just started using Busuu and we decided we're going to start taking Spanish lessons. The self-paced learning really works because you get to be in control.
With Busuu, you can actually talk to real native speakers and practice what you've learned immediately through their theory to practice.
If you're interested in learning a new language this year like we are, you can click the link below and start learning for free by trying out the Busuu Premium free trial for 7 days.
Alright, now back to the video.
So one thing I noticed and wasn't really expecting is just how much of an American influence there is here. I didn't know, but apparently Philippines is the only country in Asia that doesn't use chopsticks. As we mentioned before, their barbecue is amazing, and you'll find like burger joints and really like Western Americanized food restaurants all over the Philippines. They also drive on the right-hand side of the road, which was a bit of a shock coming from the other parts of Southeast Asia. They also, as we mentioned, they speak a lot of English, and the number one sport in the Philippines is basketball, which was very surprising because everywhere else in Asia it seems to be like soccer or football, whatever you call it.
Lots of soccer, yeah.
We're actually going to our first Filipino basketball game in a couple of days, so make sure you check out that video when we release it.
As a Canadian, I feel like I felt more at home here because of the American influence. I don't know, because of all the other countries we'd been to, it was kind of nice coming somewhere that had that American feel to it. It sort of made me feel, yeah, like I was back in Canada a little bit.
I'd say it's not quite as much of a culture shock as it is going to like Indonesia and Vietnam and Thailand.
Yeah. And number one would be the weather. So the weather's been pretty inconsistent and different everywhere that we've been so far.
Yeah, I was really surprised because the first place we really went was El Nido, and it pretty much rained every day, which we knew we were coming in the middle of wet season. But then somebody reached out to us and told us that Siargao is actually dry season, and I thought that can't be possible. Like, they're not that far from each other. I think it was about an hour flight or something. And it turns out that July is the driest month in Siargao, and since we've been here, it's been pretty much blue skies every day.
It's been beautiful, the best weather. And the water and everything, like just being in Siargao has been beautiful. Like the best, I think actually the best weather we've had since we've been in Southeast Asia for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it does rain a lot in Siargao, but we just happen to get lucky and be here in the dry months. So if you're planning a trip to the Philippines, it's not a blanket weather system across the whole country. Just do your research and you'll find that there's probably certain areas that you're better off going at certain times of year.
Just keep in mind, if you are going to these other islands as well, just an extra side note, because of the rainy season and being on islands, it is a little bit buggy. I've noticed like there's lots of, you know, creepy crawlies and mosquitoes are pretty prevalent here. So if you are, you know, prone to getting bit, just keep that in mind. Bring lots of mosquito repellent with you, because I'm someone that constantly gets bit by everything. So just to keep that in mind as well.
And also, being like monsoon season doesn't mean it rains all day. It just might be cloudy for most of the day, and you'll probably get an hour or two of rainfall in the afternoon, so it's not too bad anyway.
We hope you guys have found this video helpful in some way. If you have, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel if you want to see our future videos. If you think we forgot anything, let us know down in the comments. I'm sure a lot of people coming to the Philippines want as much information as they can get. If you're a local and you want tourists to know something, fire it down into the comments. We appreciate you guys watching our videos, and we will see you guys in the next one. Bye!